I demand he shave anyway.
Who are you talking about, Nick? I had
very
clear
disappointing.
conditions on how I would shave on stream. And the conditions
Very
weren't met. Don't
disappointing.
blame me.
Not the outcome we were looking for. Not the outcome, obviously, PGG we're looking for. And again, Gravitas just working their way up.
Yeah, I mean, they're proving time and again that, with the addition of Pabu, things do look different. And even if it's not just him individually, the team seems to be rallying around the fact that he's there better as well. So it could just be the communication that he's able to add to the mix. In saying that, they're getting the wins when it matters most, and they really have pushed themselves into playoff contention.
Very exciting time to be a Gravitas fan. Bring back the 7 jerseys. That's what I say. Bring them back. They're going to sell like hotcakes. All right, it's time for more Nick Bag. This one comes from I Believe in You. Best league champs at mini golf. Who do we like to go playing mini golf with League of Legends champ-wise? Spawn.
Any Yordle, because to them, it's actual golf.
Oh, right. Okay. But I would argue that actual golf is much, much harder than mini golf.
There's no driving range, though.
It
so
depends. Rusty and I went to this mini golf place and we played with the tiniest putter. So maybe I just have that in my head about what actual mini golf looks like. But we played on hard mode with these putters that were like this big.
Yeah.
And the reason I tell the story, skip through ahead 9 holes, is I won.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think, you know what? I would take a Yordle. I would say
You'd take a Yordle?
Tristana. Doesn't she say hole in one? Isn't that one of her lines or something? I would take Tristana.
You could take Poppy because she could just use the hammer.
Oh, actually, maybe I'd
reckon-
take Caitlyn because Caitlyn's a sniper. She could be good.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say like a Caitlyn, a Ashe, basically anyone who bow and arrow, gun, relies on pinpoint precision. Caitlyn's ult is obviously like basically wherever you are, I'm going to get you. So she could just ult the ball, I guess? The hole? I don't know. She'll figure something out.
I was going to go for
Rusty?
Echo because I feel like you get second chances. If you make a
Ooh, that's
mistake, you can
nice.
just rewind
That's
back.
nice.
That's pretty
Yep.
OP.
That's good. Same with Zillion.
Yeah, Zillion's good. Okay, so Vel'Koz, for one, because he deals with angles and trigonometry all the time. He's also just an extremely smart, just like super being, so I feel like he'd nail a very boring task like mini golf to him. And then maybe someone with magic, like someone that can tamper with the ball and just control it so you don't need to try.
Syndra.
Oh,
Yeah, true.
that seems OP, yeah.
Or
True.
Ziggs.
She spawns the golf balls.
Or she just picks it up with her W
That's nice.
and literally places it in the hole.
True. True.
Again,
additional
I'm gonna go back to the most useful champ in real life. Just get Zoe. She just ports 2 on top of the hole, drops it, ports back. Bada boom, bada bing.
I compare that.
Work for that as well.
Chat love Poppy.
Magical journey
They're like-
straight to the pocket.
Jax brings his own stick. That's helpful.
Yeah, he's like the Happy Gilmore if he uses a hockey skin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just slap it in. And then Heimerdinger would one shot it every time, they said. So there you go. Good question. So the Jupiter Storm, this is Legacy's coach himself. Have you used or come up with any life hacks that are useful during this period of isolation?
Oh.
Have we adapted in any interesting ways?
I'm trying to
Life
think.
hasn't changed that much, man. We're just a bunch of nerds.
We just play
indoors,
games.
like-
We hide anyway, right?
The closest we get, and I think we were talking about this earlier, Nick, is like now you have to come up with more entertaining ways for the kids.
Totally.
Because in the past, it was just like go down to the park, go out for lunch, like feed them food. Like the easiest way to occupy a kid is give them food. And now
Give them a set
you
of
can't
steak
do
knives
that.
and just be like, figure it out.
Okay. So it's like, what is the first activity of the day that we can set up maybe the night before? That's what we're going to start doing. We haven't done it yet, so it's not really a life hack, but that's what my game plan is. Whenever I have Jasper in the morning, which I do a lot at the moment because Jenna's working, she's a nurse, and obviously there's a time for nurses right now. I want to set up the first activity of the morning, the night before, So because I'm a night creature, that's when I'm at my best. Jasper's a morning creature. He's at his best at like 7 a.m. I can't keep up with him at that time. I need a pre-recorded exercise for him.
That's it. Yeah, that's good. So you're planning the night before. See, I've got the similar sort of thing. We did a scavenger hunt with Banjo. That's like a house scavenger hunt. Jake, you should totally use this. It's the easiest thing in the world, which is just make a list of things in your house that he needs to go find, but you don't go hide anything. So it's like, find a picture of someone who loves you. Find 3 things that are blue. And it's like, well, I know all this stuff is just scattered around the house. So yeah, I would agree that it's lots of kid stuff at the moment for me. As we get more and more into lockdown, I think that's probably where the life hack things will come from. The only other thing I've noticed about our behavior is I've become more like my grandmother, who obviously lived through the Great Depression. And when I was a kid, I never understood why she would like hang out cling wrap on the washing line so that we could use it again and stuff. And of course, she came through a time of intense scarcity. So now I'm finding that like with food, I'm saving everything. If I don't finish it, I finish it later. And like, we're not even in a situation where we're going to run out of food, but that's just how I'm starting to be aware of the amount of stuff that I consume and just discard. And I'm trying my hardest to not do that. It's not a hack, but it's more like an awareness.
And of course, if you're a decent human being, you can stop poisoning the planet using cling wrap and just maybe get some beeswax sheets.
There you go. Well, she's dead now, so I hope you feel great about yourself, Spawn.
No, I was talking about you, not her. She didn't know any better. There was no science back then, Nick. Great Depression.
That's true.
Like, did they even
she choked
have
to
a
death on
scientist?
cling wrap. It was very ironic.
God damn it.
God. Oh my God.
He's starting to fight back. It's not fair.
Is Champ Select ready yet?
All right, it's time for game number 5. It is Chiefs versus Mammoth. Chiefs and Legacy rounding out the end of the evening with the final 2 games. Chiefs versus Mammoth. We like Chiefs again. I'm just going to speak for the team here, unless for some reason anyone objects and thinks that Mammoth potentially get the W.
Would you shave your mustache if Mammoth win?
Yeah, if Mammoth win, I will shave a mustache. That's fine.
Okay, excellent, cool. Mammoth, you've given us all a second chance. We'll be back with Macca's Champ Select right after this.
I'm sorry.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
We are at the tail end of the evening, and what better way than to see Chiefs taking on a Mammoth, a big matchup for them once again, just to keep securing those dubs, keep themselves at a even stake right now with Legacy. If we check in with the standings, both teams are 14-3, and with Mammoth, they have the sort of dream run. They can still make playoffs, but they've got a very big uphill battle to make it this one.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think every journey starts with a step, and I don't know how many times we've said this for Mammoth, Skimmy. But their step just continues to falter at a step. They need to be able to pick up momentum. So unfortunately, they lost their last 2 games. So the step needs to start right now. If they get a step, maybe next week they'll get a jog, and then they can sprint back into that playoff race.
Yeah, they definitely won't be able to sprint outside, that's for sure, because you've got to run away from your problems indoors currently. Let's see how this draft goes on out. Wukong deleted. Removed from the draft after seeing what it could do when you have pretty much the dream combination to pair alongside with. And Chiefs once again showing so much respect over to this Mammoth bot side, which is their first 3 bans.
And I feel like the Chiefs maybe being a little bit cheeky here. They're just saying, what else can you play, guys? Like, what else have you got for us down in the bottom lane? Let's make it a skill matchup. Let's get rid of any safety. And if they immediately look a Thresher, that's exactly what you're saying right there. You know what? Let's skill matchup this. Let's make sure that we've both got strong 80 carries. Let's take the skill matchup support and let's really throw down.
This is definitely a different style of the Chiefs. They've not really been known to do it as of late. They've definitely been looking at getting Wiz Katsuri a pick to get himself on board or getting a jungler in some form of comfort. But Korea CK, very proficient on these hook support champs.
Yeah, and I mean, Korea CK started the OPL split this year as a Thresh one trick. Having watched him play throughout Spawn Queue and playing throughout the summer, like this guy was a really, really dangerous Thresh Bard player in solo queue. So the fact that he's gone back to the roots, I like it. I think you got to have throwback games every now and again. Coming into playoffs, Skimmy, you got to remind people what you banned in the best of 5, and maybe against Korea CK, you have to ban the Thresh.
Definitely, I'm sure it feels good, right, as a player to know that, look, how many of these bans are catered towards me, and then how much that sort of opens up for the rest of your team then to execute with their champion pool. But Mammoth will respond. Not going to reveal anything just yet. They've gone for the Ornn, and they take another hook champion too.
The reason I like this, Skimmy, is because the Chiefs are going to teamfight you at some point. Just in the same way that, at some point Direwolves are going to try and split push and play around chippies. At some point, the Chiefs are going to throw a teamfight comp at you. And if you go with Ornn and Nautilus, they're probably not two better team fighters in their role than what Mammoth have just been able to pick up right there. So I think that this is actually a really nice composition being put together by Mammoth. Obviously, they're going to have to overcome some early game difficulties because they're not the best early game champions, but it does give them a fighting chance at those Dragon and Baron fights.
Chiefs aren't going to waste any time with their response in this one. Originally, they were considering the Misfortune, but then went for that set. So some strong engage, some ability to take out one of those tanks from the fight when they do decide to jump one in, and really buy some room for the bullet time Misfortune to operate within.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm finding this really interesting. The rise of Misfortune over Aphelios.
Yeah.
Different teams prioritizing different things, but it does seem the standard consensus at the moment is Misfortune is a little bit stronger. And I wonder if that's due to a stronger laning phase, if there's anything else there. And I mean, Mboma doesn't take the Aphelios at all. Instead, they go towards the Lip Bass kind of flex pick of the Echo. That's crazy.
This is interesting because I feel like in the last few games, he's being targeted in the first round of bans of always denying this Echo away from him. So not to necessarily say it's a knee-jerk reaction, but more like, I know I'm very comfortable in this champion, let me have it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. In big games, you want to get comfort as much as possible for your players. But at the same time, Aphelios has got like 100% presence around the world.
Yeah.
And we saw Rare play it, I think, 2 games ago. He's like impossible to kill that champion. Like, if he has the daggers and the whatever the silver gun is,
the chakrams, yeah,
the chakrams. If you have that combo, you can never kill him. He lives forever.
Yeah, we definitely saw what he did when he survived on 10% health and was just smurfing on the entire team, just getting triple kills. And I saw even yourself in chat just going, what happened? And I feel like even now, despite all these changes to try and make it a little bit easier from a viewer's perspective, even I sometimes am like, well, he did damage. He got the job done.
What happens is like, okay, the sniper chakram combo was OP. Let's nerf that combo. And then it's like, well, it just turns out that he had so many layers to his kit that were OP that you only nerf like the most OP. The champion was operating at 130%. Now he just operates at 110%. But there's still a way to knock him down to a 90% champion, like they probably want him to be, right? There is just layer upon layer of OP shit built into that kit that you got to be able to strip out. And unfortunately, they haven't got to stripping it out yet, Skip.
Right, balanced team just like, please, how do we do this? What do we do? And working remotely, it's a disaster on multiple fronts. And, well, this is the biggest disrespect, right? We talk about it from the first 3 bans. The fact is they leave Aphelios up, so they're really selling your point of, let's take a skill matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is. Get him on the weaker lane and get him on a weaker level 1. Maybe look for some shenanigans. Like, if you're Mboma at this point, he's a top 10 player in solo queue at the moment, I believe. I really want to bring up the O solo queue board, so bear with me as I boot up a client. Hopefully I don't lag. But last time I checked, he was like number 8. So I think Mboma is someone to respect. He subbed in a lot for Order last year, so I know him quite well. And I think, you know what, this is definitely a gauntlet that has been thrown by the Chiefs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's going to insta-lock that one, saying, well, if you're going to give me the situation, well, I'll take it. I don't really mind at all. And there are, well, in the last 8 games, 4 of those being a Jarvan for the Scroc. So he says, why have you banned out the Graves and the Olaf when I can pick up the Sifri instead?
Yeah, I certainly think that Jarvan is a worse matchup into the Echo, so they banned the Echo counters, but for composition, Jarvan Orianna just make a lot of sense for this team. It gives them actually some hard engage and some huge team fight pressure. So I kind of agree with you. Like, banning away the Olaf to me isn't the best call. I don't think it was a great composition for Olaf. So we'll see exactly what the answer is out of Lived, or whether they give Bass a different pick.
What do they decide to lock in now? Because Bass and Lived have both played it. Will be a jungle. Now where do they decide to put these lanes?
So
That might be
Mboma
what we had
is
to settle
ranked
on.
10 at the moment. He's exactly on rank 10. So that just shows how skillful he is. Korea CK, I believe, is ranked number 2 at the moment as well. So we've got some really high elo players at the moment. But I'm a big fan of Mboma. I think that he's a talented kid. And this is going to be a fiery game. I think, Skimmy, get ready for some team fights again.
I think so too. I think really this is what Mammoth want to try and do, hence why they've drafted to go up against what Chiefs have brought to us, which is the ideal wombo combo. We've seen this come out of them in the past. I'm sure they don't want to really remember that time where Claire missed that shockwave and the situation went quite south from that, but this is once again, a very comfortable composition for them, one that they'll have multiple engage tools on, won't be reliant on one single member to open the door.
And I pose it to you, Skimmy. Isn't it interesting that teams have started saying the only way we're going to beat Chiefs is by actually drafting for their strength? They're like gone are the days of the macro because they're too decisive. They just beat you if you try and play 1-3-1. Gone are the days of, maybe some side lane split push pressure. Every single team that we've seen play Chiefs this weekend, which so far has been Order and Gravitas, has said, you know what, we're going to go with a mid-game team fighting comp and we're going to try and be able to take over this game in the exact same way Chiefs do it. I think that if you were the top of the ladder and by the end of the split you have bullied teams to playing your style, that is a big statement for the Chiefs Esports Club. They must be considered one of the favorites still to be able to take this out. In a weekend where we thought Direwolves might be getting there, Tally was looking better on the legacy lineup. I think Chiefs have really had some decisive games and declared themselves still top spot.
It's been a big upset, really, I suppose, where the top dogs almost seem like a power rank within themselves. They're kind of like struggling to figure out exactly where they fit in the mix of things. There was like convincing, I don't even want to say it was convincing. The very first OPL Classico we had between Chiefs and Legacy was quite crazy, right? But the second one was definitely a flip of the script of Legacy having the better half of the draft and just able to show that they are so much better. But then you have these moments where Gravitas and Mammoth come in and just completely upset the top dogs. And your brain is trying to struggle to think, what on earth is going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've all had one now, however, and it does seem that Chiefs are trying to climb back to that top spot.
Well, let's get ready and geared up for Chiefs taking on Mammoth. We'll have it very shortly after this break.
Cruel moon, bring the
Game number 5 as we jump onto the Rift with Chiefs, top of the table, taking on currently struggling Mammoth, who have definitely had their struggles, but also their triumphs, Spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is going to be a big game for Mammoth. Their season kind of relies on this. However, if the Chiefs want to be considered the favourite, if they want to reclaim top spot, they need to be able to pick up this win. They need to come in and take care of business, Skimmy, and they are a team that has been able to do that. Only 3 losses in the entirety of the OPL so far.
Absolutely. And we talked at lengths, really, at what Chiefs have on board, a composition they're very familiar with, one that looks quite straightforward to execute. We didn't talk too much about Mammoth. You know, from a initial overview, what seemed to be the win conditions that spring to mind here?
Yeah, I mean, in the early game, it's going to be all about this mid-jungle 2v2, 2 heavy skirmishes in the Echo and the Aurelia. Now, they're going into some control champions of the Orianna as well as this Jarvan. So I think that early game advantage in the mid lane jungle 2v2 should be there for Mammoth. See whether they can capitalize on it, because going straight at Croc, who is, I think, maybe the best player. He would probably be my MVP of the season so far.
Yeah.
It is a big call, I think.
He's definitely shown up to this team and, week in, week out, put in solid performances. And I think that game alone from the one we saw earlier today, he single-handedly put his team on his back with that Graves performance. So looking really forward to seeing what he can do on this job and to kick things off.
Yeah, certainly did. And already we see a split map, Skimmy. So Ornn's going to get split on. See whether Croc is going to cross back and try and double red buff, or whether he sticks around in this jungle to secure even more farm. But this puts Bass in a very tricky situation. You can see it is going to be the cross bats back. So no red buff going to be there for Bass in the early stage of this game.
Already feeling the pain that this man can offer onto the Rift, as he's going to now be able to return to his own jungle. Whether or not Bass decides to sort of show his face to try and put up any contest, we'll have to keep our eyes on. But top lane, it is going to be the battle of the bruisers. Tien quite comfortable in playing both these champions and already getting the better half of an uppercut. But, just as we talk about top lane, mid lane is where the action is at. Croc already aggressive, is going to reveal that he's got that red buff online. Bass still unsure where he's gone. They're going to chase through this jungle, go back to where they started. It's going to be a slow burn, but it will be a first blood.
And I said the game was going to be won in the mid-jungle 2v2. Well, that is so cheeky. He's only taken 1 camp right now, Skimmy. But he is able to get first blood for his team. Now they're looking at Kwaku as well in the top lane. There is no defense for him. But Croc sitting on a ward. He's wasting a lot of time. He's still only 1 camp, Skimmy.
Only level 2 at this stage, but that does not seem to phase him. They want to get this tower online. They want to get this damage done. Flash for flash. Damage is done. Tien surviving. Who cares about camp clears, Spawn, when you can just pop your team right off?
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently it's just all about getting the solo laners ahead. And Bass, very low on health, not going to go towards a red buff invade here. That's quite interesting to me, Skimmy. Instead, he is content with the Scuttle Crab. You can see bottom lane had kind of backed away into Fog of War. Maybe thought that Bass was behind them and doesn't want to push his luck. But that is an early 1,000 gold lead right now. To the Chiefs Esports Club, very few flashes available on the top side of the map. So if Bass can get himself maybe a blue smite or something like that, might be able to get a couple of successful ganks off on some of these flashless targets.
Just look what it means. Obviously, pre-5 minutes into this game, the gold difference already starting to become apparent. And, you talk about Chiefs being this comp that gets so strong when they hit a spike and then go, that's it, we're team fighting. Well, if you give them that window early into the game, you just have to worry about how to Mammoth recover in this one. As Bass now finally perks up the courage to invade and get a red buff for himself.
And I think that's pretty good play out of Bass, and I'll explain why as he takes his red buff down. He was finally waiting for his bottom lane to get the push, or what we call priority in League of Legends. This is a cheeky spot to recall. We'll be able to spot the Jarvan. Does he want to fight him? If Jarvan uses EQ, I think he would want to, but Orianna rotating over to cover. Oh, Croc, this is a step too far, surely.
Croc needs to get out of here. Doesn't have flash. We'll have the EQ up again. Artek hungry for the hook. Vision would have spotted him. Unwilling to take that risk.
No one burning a flash there for Croc. I wonder whether he would have had the Q up and available. Had already used it. Kwaku, he's in some trouble.
He really is. He's running away. Facemaker brings him back in. Tien feeling a lot of pain right now. We'll still have that Haymaker available, which won't be there to execute him. Both of the top laners very low on those health bars.
Yeah, so you can see Quaku actually playing that one pretty well. We'll be able to get out. Also, a couple of creeps died on TN's side of the lane. Not the best trade there. Mid lane was also refrozen by Lived, so you can see that they're trying to put some pressure on these solo laners. But all in all, it's still that 1,000 gold lead, Skimmy. It is still the Chiefs in firm control of this game, and they know that their composition, as far as the 5v5 teamfight goes, does have a lot of that wombo combo threat.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's been making them successful, a lot of the OPL so far. So probably comfortable to allow this one to be on the slow burn.
Quaku would have loved to have picked up that kill, obviously, because he doesn't have teleport whereas TN does. Would have allowed him to try and reestablish himself, because it's Croc again. This time there is no ward in the tri-bush. He's saying hello. EQ lands. TN going to get you out of that unstoppable frame, and he's going to take you down for a second kill to really break up the base.
Bass going to get ulted here too.
He is. He rocks up for a gank. And he's forced to play defensively, flash away. And Chiefs might just say, we don't care. We're blue team. We're blue color. We're looking to just straight destroy any of your chances, because all you'll be seeing is blue after this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to wonder why Bass actually left the safety of his turret there. He's going to continue to try and run away, maybe even look for that one hit onto the
Don't
end.
tell me he gets it. Nah, Haymaker is insane, and it will secure the kill.
And I mean, this is just a straight decimation. 4 kills to nothing at only 6 minutes into the game. Kind of that jungle advantage was the last thing that they were holding on to, Skimmy. But that has now disappeared as well. It's also going to be the Warrior Jarvan picked up. TN flirting with a little bit of danger there, but knows Quaku doesn't have the gold or the items to be able to take him down at this stage of the game. And the Chiefs, it looked like they were toying with Mammoth a little bit in the pick ban phase. Well, so far this game, they have certainly been doing just that. Artek also taking a lot of damage. Nowhere winning right now for the Mammoth lineup.
And that hurts, your mental, right? The fact that you are basically given free litter to say, you can have whatever you want to play. We don't care. We think we are better. We know we are better. So we want you to play those champions. Yes, we're going to ban out some cheese with the Heimerdinger and the Blitzcrank, but I'm going to rock back up to lane and instantly let you know, you can't contest me. You don't stand a chance.
And once again, we see this Blade of the Ruined King build being picked up for the set. And whilst I don't love it in team fights, I think that it is definitively the best laning item in the game right now. And I think that Set is really showing that he is an obnoxious laner with these items. In Quaku, he's about to be done, man. I don't think TN care.
Bass is going to rock up again. The All-Ult comes out. It's not going to do much, because I tell you what, even if Bash jumps in, I feel like TN can definitely 1v2 at this stage.
He's got his flash available. He can just flash probably kill him right now. He's going to let him go back. He is a merciful top laner. And instead, he's just going to take himself some plates. Still no teleport. And this game's starting to look very, very difficult for the Mammoth lineup to climb back into. I would love to see the gold differential on Thien right now, as he's about to pick up a plate. He does it so quickly. He's 1,500 gold up before he starts whacking the turret, mate. He's a monster.
And surely it has to feel so bad for Bass.
He's 2,000 gold up, Skibby. There's only 2,000 gold on the Ornn.
That's what I mean. It has to feel so bad for Bass. The fact that he went for the power clear. Croc is like, I don't care. One clear, gank. Always successful, always finding value. He'll take that. That's a flash.
Here we go. Maybe turnaround though, however.
Aurelia will look for some form of a turnaround. The shockwave going on, only to draw Bass in closer. Ignite will be utilized as well. And Claire is going to auto him to death, spelling his demise. Korea CK wants to get in on the action, but he'll help with that mid-wave push. And Chiefs are definitely playing with their food right now.
Yeah, and it just looks like, form temporary, class forever. Whilst Mammoth have been able to create some upsets in recent weeks, the class of the Chiefs is well and truly coming to the top right now. And this game has been so action-packed to me that I haven't even been able to take a bite of my meat pie.
You were so proud of it before this game as well.
I was, and now it's kind of just got tomato sauce sitting on at the top, which was all nice and crunchy. It's getting a little bit, soggy. Don't know how I like my meat pies, but it's definitely not with a soggy top.
No, that sounds like a gutsful, absolutely. You know what? How about I talk for a little bit and you can have a cheeky little bite?
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You know what? We will support the broadcast here. You got to keep these men entertained, to keep these guys hydrated and full of nutrition to go into these long days. Super Week today, tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow. Yesterday and today and next weekend too. Plenty of action in the OPL as we gear ourselves towards these playoffs. And if Croc was already strong, he's going to assist the boys by picking up the very first Drake. Tien still 3-0. Once that Blade of the Rune King is online, what can I say? Kwaku, sure, you can give ornaments to the rest of the team, but I don't think we're going to get to that stage, quite honestly, Spawn.
Yeah, neither do I, mate. I think that when you have a look at how this game is currently sitting on a trajectory, that we're going to see Rift Herald taken quite soon. Then also just continuing to whittle down Kwaku's health. Good trade back from Kwaku. We'll put maybe an all-in range there. Croc, however, back mid lane.
He's looking for it. Lived every single chance he gets to try and jump in. Bass is going to respond. He will fall on down. Claire finds value with that shockwave. Bass with the rewind. The hook nearly connecting. Career CK. Don't flirt with me like that. That was very cheeky for a second, but 6-0, 10 minutes in. Kwaku has been on lethal for half this game.
Man, he's going to die right here.
Yep. Nothing really more to say about that.
Just gets pile driven into the ground. That's going to be another 2 creep waves crashing. He does have teleport if he wants to try and save this turret. So Thien will go back, but that is going to be Rift Herald picked up. That is going to be Blade of the Rune King. It's nearly going to be a cashed in cull as well. Life is good as Thien right now. Just admire how well this landing phase is going for the Chiefs. 11 minutes in, you really can't fault them.
We always talk about, Chiefs being this incredibly strong team, but now, Spawn, is there a world in which Mammoth can find a form of advantage? Because right now it's looking very grim. I suppose bot lane, be it the fact it is very quiet down there, and Mboma, being that top 10 player, has found himself a CS lead.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a gain coming through here as well. You can get a couple of turret plates, however, Claire responding to bottom lane pressure. I think that this needs one of those mismatched team fights where, maybe Thien, who is so much of the gold lead, or Mboma will live.
Very, very close.
Certainly was. That's a good play from Korea CK to burn the flash. What I was going to say is I think this needs one of those team fights where Thien doesn't show up at all and Kwaku just says, you know what, stuff top lane. I'm going to go for a little bit of a team fight play. And hopefully if they get that, maybe they get a shutdown onto Mboma. They can start to try and build something.
Well, there's not really much that he can offer to get Korea CK out of the situation. Bullet time being burnt only moments before. Action happens across the rift. A kill takes place in mid lane with Lived again falling on down.
And the thing is, right, is that you can't go anywhere near mid lane or top lane at the moment. Jungle is a wash, 106. That is a Fed Jarvan as well. So something has to happen around bottom lane if you're a Mammoth fan for you to be able to win this game. The problem is that you've already lost top lane turret. You're about to lose 3 plates on your mid lane, 4 plates on your mid lane turret. Like, how much can you bleed top side before your bottom side is just completely irrelevant? I would say about this much. Like,
I feel like so too,
5,000 gold down.
How do you have a frontline to protect you to even utilize that power spike that you may find?
So let's take a look. Liv tried to rotate over to this bottom lane play. However, again, he dives onto Claire. Claire just shockwaves him back. It's going to be Spellbook as well, so Ignite goes down. And when you're Claire, and you're once again, 1,700 gold up over your mid lane counterpart, he's just not going to have enough damage to burst you out in these fights. Meanwhile, top lane, 3,000 gold now the lead.
Double the gold. That's gross.
So every single time Kwaku says, I have 3,000 gold, you just have to imagine that whatever he has, Thien probably has the same amount as a lead. Hook is on.
That is the hook. There's the finesse, the exhaust, and the flash to disengage from what was an impending doom. Chiefs will let that one get away.
But impending doom accomplishment. They can take mid lane turret off this if they want. They can push Mboma back again in the bottom lane. He has catched in his cull, so Mboma is in a position of power right now. See whether they can fight 3v3 around him. No, jungle not here, so it's a 3v2.
No pressure on the rest of their map, and this bot lane is just never safe. Now they will find that KDA getting negative. Only Arctic the sole survivor in this situation, but it's such a rough showing. And the fact is, you're talking about mid and top getting bullied so hard. Now Claire is cycled through that unsealed spellbook. He's got TP as well, so you're looking at TP ganks and just complete disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what an overflow looks like, right? Bass had to catch the mid lane wave. While that's happening, you bring the jungler down. It's a 2v3. Again, shockwave mid lane.
They're just looking for it. Gets slam dunked through. Gets a lot of life leech to get himself back into this. Or ult to come across because Tien wants to snipe it. And Kwaku can't offer any assistance to keep Lived alive.
And this is starting to get very, very ugly, Skinny. We've got ourselves 6,000, 7,000 gold lead only 15 minutes in. It is a 10-1 scoreline. The two neutral objectives in the Dragon and the Herald that have gone down have been taken by the Chiefs Esports Club. And CN isn't making the mistake he made last time he was this far ahead, where he just sat top lane and didn't do anything. This time, he comes mid lane, he kills Liv. He's rotating that advantage around Summoner's Rift. I would love to see them go into a 1-3-1, take this lane game as seriously as possible. And DN right now has got 2 completed items at 15 minutes on set, who's a bloody powerhouse already as it is. Showing why they were willing to give over the best utility tank in the game to just take him out. Unfortunately, he's not 4,000 gold ahead just yet. So there is a part in this game where at 4,000 gold, Kwaku isn't 4,000 gold behind. He's only 3,800 gold behind.
5-0. He's living a dream with that second ultimate upgrade. And look, mate, keep it in that pie. I'll carry us through this Dragon. Look, you know what? Support's had to do their duty, and as a support main myself, I'll support you through this broadcast too. Is going to be picked up here. It's going to be a second one to Chief's name, as if they need anything else to add to the power complex they have right now. And those Moby boots are finding so much value here by Korea CK, able to act as a second jungler. Quite honestly, wherever Croc goes, he does too.
And maybe even a dive coming down into this bottom lane. Wherever Liv goes, they just want to kill him.
They will find it, but Liv manages to dodge away for just a second. Box goes down. Bass runs through it. The ignite won't be enough. Both members disengage, but once again, allows bot lane to be opened up for free.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, meanwhile, top lane just being left on an island, Kwaku will be able to clear out the creep wave. He's done a really good job of keeping farming. CK, mid lane.
Leave these people alone. They have families. They need to farm. They just want to chill. I don't think FFing is allowed in the OPL. It's not allowed at all. You're just gone.
Skimmy,
what do they do, Spawn?
It's hard to watch. You go next. Like, the honest answer is you hate to call a game before it's over, but unless there is a higher power in the universe that wants Mammoth to specifically win this game for some reason, it's taken its time out of creating other worlds or, looking after people across planet Earth, and they've just said, you know what, this is the time for divine intervention. Unless you get divine intervention in this game, I just do not see how you win it if you're a Mammoth.
This is Chiefs angry.
Yeah, this is angry Chiefs. You're correct. We used to say this about the old Chiefs, where if Chiefs lost a game, you never wanted to play them next. Because they were just the kind of team that would, they hit the closest thing when they were having a little bit of a tantrum. And if you were that closest thing, Skimmy, you just knew you weren't going to win the game of League of Legends. And unfortunately right now, Mammoth appear to be the closest thing. And they didn't do anything wrong. The poor Mammoth lineup. They're just trying to make playoffs, guys. Leave them alone.
They just want to play some League of Legends and showcase, to their friends and family what they do as a job, which is the dream, living life, and continue to work safe from their homes. But Chiefs say that's a nice narrative. But fairy tales don't exist in real life. We want kills. I'll flash forward. I'll 2v1. Turret dive doesn't even matter. That is a shutdown, bear in mind, though. And Aurelia is the one to pick it up.
Yeah, okay. So Liv's able to grab himself. Oh. Nah. It was so short.
So much damage.
No pun intended, but the positive happens bottom side of Summoner's Rift, but unfortunately Mboma gets caught out. Good shockwave from Claire. He's having a blinder on Summoner's Rift, still showing his mastery of these control mages. It's going to be another turret falling down mid lane, another turret falling down top lane. Skimmy, it's now an 8,000 gold lead before 20 minutes.
Nope, we're looking at breaking open the base now. First headbutt towards the inhibitor. As that turret gets destroyed. 5 turrets to 1. Been a narrative and a second headbutt to guarantee that this inhibitor will be taken as a result. As the stopwatch comes out of Arctic to live a little bit longer. Croc gonna disengage out of his own Cataclysm. The box to try and catch a target in place. And that draws them all into a bullet time, which pads members low. Korea CK will fall on down to a Moonlight Vigil. The sole survivor, Mboma, who's gone even with this misfortune, able to emit some pressure of his own with that power spike of an Infinity Edge. Finds love and finds a chance to breathe.
Yeah, and I said the only way they win a team fight is if, for whatever reason, BN doesn't show up. Well, that was that team fight. BN was not there. It was all 5 members of the Mammoth lineup. They were able to pick up a kill, but they needed more. I feel like in that opportunity, they needed to be burning everything to try and secure 2, 3, 4 kills onto Mboma. Not going to be the case. He's still, even with his counterpart, he's doing such a good job to just hold on. As is Bass, but it's just the deficit in the mid lane, the deficit in the top lane. 5,000 gold ahead. It's the end right now.
The biggest carry of this team. You talk about, well, Croc and Bass are even, right? Bass is ahead in levels. So, what has Croc been doing this game? But you have to sort of think about how good of a job he's done to get these solo laners online and make them just look so damn good. He's really been playing out of his mind today.
Yeah, he's facilitating it great, and Bowman's caught out here as well. He's just going to fall down. Won't even pass it back because there's no play-by-play to be had there. Quaku just saying, you know what, mate, I'm going to kill the wave, maybe slow down the push a little bit. But with the double stacked super creep wave coming in top lane, with wave crashing bottom lane at only 20 minutes in, with no wave clear anywhere on this comp to be seen, Chiefs must be thinking that we can break the bait in another position.
And how do they respond? Well, Quaku's trying to be a patriot and sit under that turret, but he only baits his team into a double cataclysm that says hello. So he's going to be the one to pick up that kill, and Liv looks for that Hail Mary attempt, finding reprieve underneath that tower. Rewinds into a bullet time. Forced to disengage again. Crazy K tanking the turret as they now turn their attention towards mid lane. 20 minutes in, turrets are non-existent. They don't even matter at this point.
Yeah, and second area of the base broke, and they're going to also run themselves towards this Infernal Dragon. I don't think Soul's going to be a factor. However, Engage might be here while Croc is not. No, they'll decide to back away. They leave that inhibitor standing, and Croc will take himself an Infernal Dragon. Discipline
displayed here, as Croc doesn't have many resources left in his name. He's very low on that mana, so requires the rest of his team to come on and assist with him. So if they ever have a sketchy situation presented to them in this game, well, at least they've always got the Inferno Soul that they can then juggle around with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it gives you, right? It just gives you that ability to be able to fall back on something else. And you know what? I don't think they're going to need it this game, Skimmy. I think that they do not need insurance. They are young, healthy, individuals, but you never know. Maybe that power that we were talking about now goes for the internet. Maybe two people DC. I don't think one's going to be enough to do it, but maybe a couple. Maybe they go past. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if there is a way to win this game.
Maybe need to play from Nick Boy's, showroom gaming house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
just with some
the fact
shitty
that
internet.
they disconnect. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he disconnects so often. I mean, you pay the price, right? You flex us with your toilet paper and your good-looking charm and your lovely little room, but your internet sucks, mate. So maybe Chiefs need to play that and give these teams a chance. Yeah, and all your rooms.
Started up though, Skimmy. And the one thing I will say is Bass has a level lead. So if Bass gets into the pit, it's not a 50-50. Now, I don't think they're going to let him in, but if they do,
Arctic face checks, and he really wishes he hadn't, because he gets destroyed.
Oh, they go.
They chase on forward. Baron was the bait, but they are hungry for kills. Knowing that inhibitors are down, they can end this game sub 25 minutes. You're chasing on through. Greasy K going to look to find the hook before he runs on through. He flashes it out. Misses it. That is worst case scenario. Two members fall on down. Second inhibitor go too, and Chiefs steamrolling this game.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's enough for the Chiefs. They take another inhibitor, they increase their lead at 23 minutes to the 10,000 gold mark. They're going to look to take the jungle on exit. They get themselves another blue buff. Bass, who just does have this level advantage, now being denied farm. So much right now being done right by the Chiefs. That's a great turn off Baron for 2 kills. At 20 minutes into the game, it's very hard to do Baron. He is a big tanky boy. So the look for the turn, I believe, is the right one there. Now with 2 inhibitors down, they just have to wait for the waves. They can allow the end to split push bottom lane. No one can go with him. And this might be time to just V-lane back to that bottom lane and look for it one more time.
Yeah, that's been really the fact of the matter, right? Is that Tien's just been so resistant to grouping up.
Mate, he's still 6,000 gold up.
He just wants to draw everyone down. He wants some montage moments for it. He wants to have a clip made about him.
We kind of made a meme about it, right? That if you just take Quaku's gold this game and then double it, that's what the end's going to be on. I didn't think at 25 minutes in the game that would still be the case.
Yeah, it was kind
of stupid. 6,000 gold up. The rest of the team is pretty even at that point. I mean, apart from mid lane. Mid lane's an absolute wash. But you know what? Maybe if the end doesn't show up to a fight, there is a chance.
Well, it does have teleport, and he's prepped that bot wave, getting ever so close to taking out that third inhibitor. that acts as a protection shield towards them and defeat. The Chiefs, for the second time now, will start at the Baron. No vision for Mammoth to contest. They're going to be forced to face check again.
Yeah, and CK kind of showing that they're doing it because they're kind of trying to keep him away. It's 6,000 health. They don't even get it low enough to be able to steal, and they go for the fight.
He's forced to flash away, but they just bait everybody in to Tien, who just 1v5. So the guy is unstoppable. Raid boss, yes, check and complete. He's got the double. He's allowed his team to find the quadra. And the sole survivor is a Nautilus that wishes he could hang in a submarine and sail very far away from this.
Yeah, and it's 25 minutes. The ace comes across. The Chiefs not even going to look at Baron. They're going to instead look for the victory. The death timers are too long. The Chiefs are too good. Mammoth will fall, and the Chiefs cement themselves at the top of the table.
The Chiefs certainly do. They are the team to beat Blue Side and Blue Dreams because they are all calm and collect, but angry when they see red.
And Skimmy, I only got through half of my pie. That's how quick the game
rough.
was.
It is
It was
rough.
a rough game. It was a very rough game. It was a rough game for me. It was a rough game for Mammoth. And I'm sure if they had their time again, they would have loved to have been able to scout some of those early game ganks that were coming across from Croc, because he really did set the pace of the game. We said maybe it would be in Bass's favour because he is quite a chaotic jungler himself, but with all the flashes down, the Chiefs just looked like they were in heaven with how much pressure they had on Mammoth.
Yeah, Mammoth definitely been taught how to play the game of League of Legends as Chiefs come in with a plan and execute pretty much flawlessly. Feels bad for them. Take those dubs as it gives them that better chance, really, of finishing in the ideal spot for playoffs. That does it for game number 5. We've got one more coming up to round out week 9 of the OPL, so don't go anywhere after the short break.